Hello, welcome to Introduction to Databases and SQL. In this session, we will discuss about CRUD operations using JDBC. CRUD means create, read, update, and delete. Let's understand this. So CRUD operations. CRUD operations are the fundamental operations in database management and software development. If you have any database as a backend, we will be using these CRUD operations. CRUD stands for create, read, update, and delete. And these operations represent basic functions that can be performed on most database systems. So these are the basic operations. So how to perform create? Create involves adding new records or data to a database. This operation is represented by insert statement. So prior to this, we should have the database created and a table created. Now we use this create operation. Once the table or the schema is ready, we can actually add records using this insert statement. Once the instance is there in the database or the tables, we can actually use read operation. Read involves retrieving data from a database without making any changes to it. And just get the data as it is from the table based on the conditions, joins, etc. So this operation is represented by select statement. And then update statement. So update involves modifying the existing data in the database. It updates only the instance, not the schema or the structure. So this operation is represented by the update statement. So coming to the delete, delete involves removing data or records from a database. This is also operates only on the instance, nothing to do with the structure, nothing to do with the schema. The records can be removed or whole of the data can be removed, but structure remains the same. This operation is represented by delete statement. So these are the CRUD operations: create, read, update, and delete. These are very basic operations in any database management system. And now we would like to perform all these CRUD operations using JDBC. So we already did this directly with MySQL. Now we will connect the MySQL DB with Java, and we will perform these CRUD operations through Java program. So let's begin. So before we go ahead with Java, let's actually understand the database management system. So I have MySQL over here, and I'm using sample DB. And as of now, there are two tables, account and book. I can use any of these tables. Otherwise, I can create a new table and I can perform all these CRUD operations over there. Okay, so let's actually do everything from Java only. So not directly interfacing with the database management system. So let's move to NetBeans here. Yeah, so we have understood. So I have created a class called CRUD Ops, and we have understood already how we can actually connect it to database, and the steps also we understood, right? So loading drivers. So this is the driver since I am using MySQL 8.1, and then establishing the connection. So you require a string, you require the username, and you require the password. And driver manager .get connection will take all these three parameters, and connection will get established. And then we have to create a statement, through which statement we can issue the commands, and we can process the results using a result set. Okay, so now I would like to create a new table actually. So these two things I am changing. Okay, so create statement is required even for creating a table. Now the fourth step is actually executing the queries. So here what I want to do is I would like to create a table. Okay, so a new table I want to create. So for that, what I would like to do, I will take actually a string create query CQ string create query. So now I am going to create a new table actually. So string CQ equal to, so create table. I want to create a table student because I don't have a student table over here. Create table student. So usually what student data? So we will have SID, which is going to be an integer. I'm going to create a simple table. Okay. So we can actually make this as a primary key, because since we know primary key, we can keep it. And we would like to have student name. So S name, SID, S name is going to be varchar, and we can actually give up to 20 characters. And every student will have some GPA associated. So let's actually have the GPA value or CGPA, whatever it is. CGPA is a float. So like this, I want to create a table. SID integer, this integer value I am going to give. I am not making auto increment. S name and CGPA. That's it. So this is the query. Now this query has to be executed. So already we have a statement, right? So I can actually write a statement dot execute update. So it's not execute query. So we have execute update. So this is the method. And I need to pass the query over here. So that is a C query. Okay, so whenever you create a table, what happens? What is the result actually? It says 0 rows affected. It says 0 rows affected. So the output is going to be 0. Okay, whenever you create a table, it says 0 rows affected. So that means the output value, the execute update is going to return a value 0 if it is successful. Returns 0 if it is successful. Okay, if the table creation is success. Okay, if it is less than 0, then table didn't create it. So that's why what I do, so execute update always returns as an integer. So I will actually take certain value x, some value x, int x equal to statement.execute update. So this x value is 0, then table is success. So if what I say is if x less, x not equal to 0, or otherwise if I say x equal to 0 or greater than or equal to 0, it's actually 0 only. Then what I say, table created successfully. So I just want to avoid negative things actually. So if it is less negative value, then table didn't create it. So x greater than or equal to 0, system.out.println, table created. Okay, fine. So else it is not created. If it is not created, then we will have this statement getting printed. System.out.println, table not created due to some technical issue. So already table is already there. Okay, duplicate is there. So then it will not get created. So or for any other technical issues also, it will not going to get created. So that's it. Fine. So now we will see, we'll run this, and execute update will actually make the table to be created. And we can actually go to the database and check whether table created or not. Okay, so it's not CRUD operation actually. So we are actually making a base for the CRUD operations, because CRUD operations starts from insertion only. So firstly, we need to have a table created, right? So let me run this file. Yeah, so you can actually see connection established and table created. Okay, so you can go back here, and now you can actually show tables. Now I have a student table created. So you can actually describe the student, and when you say describe student, you have SID integer, S name, and CGPA, everything coming up. Okay, so now what we do the CRUD operations actually. Okay, so if I again run, I will get an error actually, because already table is created. Again, you are creating. Again, if you are running this, now you will get an exception. You got an exception because already connection is established, but table already exists, right? So table already exists. That's why it didn't get created. Okay, so you have to run only once only. So in order to go ahead with CRUD operations, what I do is this particular line, whatever I have written, I will remove this because table has to be created only once. I just mean to say here is we can also create table. We can alter table structure using Java. Okay, for CRUD operations, the table should be available. Later on, you can actually do all insertion, read, update, and deletions. So every time you need not to create a table, right? Once only table should be created. So now what we do? So here we do CRUD operations. So now the fourth step is going to be the CRUD operations since we have the table already available. So the CRUD operations, first what I want to do is I want to insert the records actually. So now for that purpose, I will take string IQ insert query. Okay, so how to write insert query? Insert into the student, whatever the table we have created. And I want to give all the values because there is no auto increment. So I just want to give some 1, 2, 3 for the first student, and student name is, let's say, Sarah, and then student CGPA out of 10 actually, let's say 7.5. This is for one student, and then I can actually give for other student as well. So 111. Okay, so the name is actually Jane. Okay, then CGPA is some 8.1. Okay, so now I want to add one more student here. So now 101, I'm going to give let's say some name actually like okay, Diva. So name should be in single quotes, and then CGPA is actually, let's say, 8.3. So 3 records. So that's it. So we have written a query with 3 records. So now when you run this query, what happens? The result is going to be 3 records inserted. The insert query will give you, if at least 1 record inserted, then it says 1 value, right? So when I write here, so int x equal to, the statement is already there, right? Statement dot execute update of this IQ. So what happens here is that insert query will be 5, and it inserts 3 records, and you will get the value as 3 records updated. Okay, so what we do is here, if x, whatever the x value is there, it is greater than 0. The x value is greater than 0. So because if it is inserted, at least it will be 1, right? So now we will say x value is greater than 0. Then we will say how many records inserted. So these many, right? So x plus x records inserted. So we will say x records rows inserted. So this is going to be for query, for this particular insert query. Okay. So how many records inserted? Means x records, because it returns that many values actually. Okay. So if you want test, we can actually test. Later we can update also. Otherwise, we can write for update as well. So in the insert query here, so what I want to do, this is only just for insertion. Okay. And then I want to retrieve them. So I need to write retrieve them or read them. I need to write a result set and select query actually. So before I retrieve, what I do here is I will write for update statement. So 3 records I inserted, right? Okay, so I will update. Okay, so how to write update query? So for that, I am going to take one query UQ. So that is update query. and the query is going to be like this. So update student set. So what value we will set? See, here I made actually Sarah, Jane, and Diva. So these all seem to be the girl names, right? So let's actually change the names. Okay, so let's change the name of Jane actually here. Update student set yes name equal to Jane, right? So let's make actually as a John, where the SID value is equal to 111. So this is the update query, and I need to fire this. So in order to fire this, so what I do, from int y equal to statement dot execute update. Yeah, so this is UQ update query. Okay, so now what will the y value? How many values are updated? One value is updated, right? So that's why what we do, if y greater than 0, that means if it is successful, then we will say sout system.out.println. So how many records updated? Y records are updated. So we will write here y plus records are updated. Of course, only one record is updated. We can say record or record. So if we keep in bracket, then that sense will come. So this is about the update statement. Okay, so insertion, update, and let's also delete actually. Let's also delete. So in order to delete, again, I need to write a query. So firstly, I am doing insertion, then I am doing updation, then I am doing deletion. Later, I will write for a read operation actually. Okay. So yeah, so there are 3 records. One I have updated. So let me actually delete one record. So this is for delete. So here we need to write for delete query. So let's say DQ. So DQ is going to be like this. So how delete query will be written? Delete from student. Delete from student. Okay, we need to have a query. Otherwise, delete from student means everything will go off. So we need to have a condition. Delete from student where CGPA is less than. Okay, so if CGPA is less than 7 or less than or equal to 7.5. Okay, by mistake I have made 83 here, that is 8.3. So delete from student where CGPA is less than or equal to 7.5. So which record will get deleted? The Sarah's record is going to get deleted. Fine. So string delete query, delete from student where CGPA equal to less than or equal to 7.5. So only one will match, and that is going to get deleted. So how many records will get deleted? Only one, right? So for that, again, when we fire this query, what happens? We should have a value. So in z equal to statement dot execute update, and I am going to pass this delete query. And if z is greater than 0, if at least one record is deleted, then we will say sout z record deleted, z plus records deleted. So this is how we are going to write actually, right? So insertion is done, updation is done, deletion is done, and finally we have to read actually. So for reading, read, or otherwise we will say retrieve also. Both are same. People say retrieve and people say read. Okay, so how to read? So you need to have a select query, right? So select query will return us so many values, right? So let me actually have that query written here. So string query, or straight away we can actually use also, not a problem, but a select query will give us a result set. So result set some rs equal to, what I'm doing here is statement dot execute query. Directly I can write the query over here, no problem. So I just want to select everything, right? So select star from student. Okay, straight away I have written the query. Earlier what I'm doing, I'm writing the query and I'm passing. So this is going to result get me a result set. So now this result set has to be processed actually. So how to process? While rs dot next Okay, so now here we need to print all the student actually, right? So if at all you want, we can actually say as out student.out.println, so student details. Okay, so after that, I'm going to print them actually. So what are all you are going to print? Okay, so you will have SID, S name, and the CGPA, right? So as out. So firstly, we are going to have the SID value. So rs dot get int, rs get int actually. So we can actually give the column number, otherwise column name also. So let me actually give both. So SID. After this, I'm going to give some space. Then I'm going to have rs dot get string actually. This is a get string. You can give the column name or column ID. So I'm giving the column name this time. And here for this, I will use column number, not a problem. Okay, so then I will say here rs dot get double. CGP is a double value. And here I am giving the column ID, that is 3. rs dot get int of SID, get string of S name, and get double of 3. Fine. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. Yeah, get double and okay. So I think one extra come over here, and this has to be closed over here. Yeah, so now it is perfect. Get int of SID, get string of S name, and get double. So that's it. So finally we are closing the connection. So all the steps are done. This is the 5th step, closing the connection. So this is about this is how we will write the CRUD operations, and I will provide the code as well. So now let's run actually. Now let's run. So before that, we will actually see MySQL. We have the table and say select star from student. So student actually got created and there are no rows. So after executing this query, we have to see. So what is going to happen? 3 records are going to get inserted. 1 record we are updating and 1 record we are deleting. And later the remaining records we are actually printing, right? So now let's actually run this. Run file. Yeah, so I have some issue. Let me actually check what is the issue. Actually, you have an error in SQL syntax. Check the corresponding SQL server near from student actually. So maybe in the delete statement, delete from student. Okay. Oh, yeah. So here there was an issue in the 41th line. Select star from student. I have made actually N. So N, the typo has come up. So that's the issue why it is. Okay. So let me. Yeah. So again, duplicate entry for key student primary. Okay. So what has happened is everything has happened except the select statement earlier. So till that it has actually executed. There was a problem with the select. So what happened? So in my table, I have these 3 students data. Okay. So later updation also happened, but there was an issue in the select, right? So when again I am running, so it's saying that, so you have actually these 2 people where primary key is getting violated. These 2 people are already there. It is primary key getting violated. So now what I do is I will actually change the new keys. 101, 11 is there, right? Then let me actually have this 101 to 105. Let's say Divas. and Sarah is getting deleted. It's getting created and it's getting deleted. So not a problem. And here I am saying Jane's actually. Okay, so now, okay. Jane's, and I'm actually changing this one to 1 to 2 or something. Okay, so now everything would be fine. So now there will not be any primary key issues. So let me run here. Yeah, now you can actually see first connection established, 3 records inserted, because I have given 3. And then what happened? 1 record updated. I'm updating 1 record, 1 record's updated. I am deleting 1 record, so 1 record deleted. Now after that, student details I am printing, right? So already there are 2 rows, 2 records. Fine. So now I have 3 records inserted, 1 deleted. So 2 plus 2, total 4 records I am having. 101, 105, 111, and 122. So the same thing we can actually check from here also. Select star from students, and we have 4. So earlier I have 2 records. Earlier I have 3 records created, 1 deleted. Now here again 3 records created, 1 deleted. So total 4 are there, right? So this is about CRUD operations. Okay, so we have got insert query, update query, delete query, and the read query. Fine. So these are about the CRUD operations, and these are the basic operations any database system will have. I hope you have understood. In the next session, I will actually take up aggregate functions, and then we'll go with the prepared statement, callable statements, etc. Thank you.